Alright, and welcome to this short video in which I'll be explaining how our level generator works. This level generator was made in Houdini, but plays perfectly fine inside Unity. So, here we have our level generator instancer. It provides us an outer boundary box, and it tells us that it needs a room. The outer boundary box describes the outer boundaries of our level, so if we want to change it, we have to scale up the boundaries. Next up, we want to provide a room object. So let's provide a control object to our scene. This control object allows us to build rooms, in this case specifically a square room. So let's provide it to the input of the generator. We can position it in a different location and scale it up as we desire. So let's make a suitably sized room for this demonstration. Next up, we want to provide a corridor curve. Now I already have a corridor curve in my scene because I want to demonstrate how the curves effectively draw themselves across the inside of this bounding box. They are able to adjust themselves following the waypoints, and they will also be able to go up and down in height, creating staircases along the way. This is done using a pathfinder object. So here I am going to make this corridor run around the inside, or I mean the outside of this room. So let's make it do that. And let's make it go up here. I also want to slightly change its elevation. So let's take these 2 points and connect them up. There we go. Next up, I would like to provide a platform for this corridor to exit out on. So let's take another room controller, and instead of adding space to nothing, we are going to add an object to space. So here's our object. Once again, we're going to drag it along, scaling it down, and we're going to tell it to add an object to this space instead of subtracting. Let's make it suitably sized and make sure it lines up with our exit here. Alright, excellent. Lastly, I would like to add a crawl space. So I can take this crawl space curve that I have here. It's effectively another corridor, but its scale is set to a lower value. And I'm going to connect it up to this corridor here. And the other part I'm going to connect up to the top of this platform. That looks good. So next up, we want to actually see what this level is going to look like. So let's tell it to show us our tile display. Tile display is going to cut up the level that we have here, combine all the shapes for our rooms, our corridors, and our objects, and merge them together using a VDB voxel system. And it will also show us how our tiles will lay out the rooms. Excellent. Now we have this, we can grab a player character, a player controller, and let's walk around our level. So let's grab a player controller, drop it in our scene, and let's place him around this area here. So now we have our player controller. Let's press play. There we go. We are now inside the level that we just built, able to walk around. And here's our corridor. We can also see we have a small mini-map at the top. Here's our crawl space. And we're going to actually have to crawl through this area here. And we end up at the top level where we have a little platform. Alright, very good. Next up, I actually want to add a catwalk from this area to down below. So let's switch the generator over into allowing us to place catwalks. So let's grab our catwalk object. Let's draw this once again. Let's match it up so that it lines up with this area. Catwalks are pretty smart. They're basically capable of adjusting themselves accordingly. If there's not enough space, they will do something like this, create a small switchback staircase of sorts. So let's go back to our tile display mode. This will give us a direct view of our end result. So there we go. Here we have our catwalk object. We can change the style. So we can change the style of this object by taking a catwalk style control curve. I can easily draw that along the bottom here. As you can see, I'm easily adding a railing to this entire catwalk, depending on where this curve control is. So if I want railings just on this side, but not over here, I can just draw it along this side here. So that concludes this. And again, let's jump into our scene and have a last look around. So again, here's our little catwalk. We can use it to climb up to the top. Alright, in this part of our video, I will be showing you how to use the tile generator to build all the tiles that you just saw in the level. So the tile generator is a system that allows us to create a variety of multiple different tiles, as well as different styles, and they will be UV'd and they will contain instance points and everything required. So firstly, we have elements such as floor tiles, we have wall tiles, we have ramp tiles, and we also have other tiles such as catwalk ramps or catwalks, railings, etc. So the tile generator itself is a multi-purpose asset. You can use these scales to adjust its settings, such as I can change the size, I can change elements such as the corners, or I can remove the corners if I so desire. I can also do other things, such as imprint the central part. And there are several other things that I could tweak and change on these tiles. Next up, the tiles contain subcomponents called subtiles, which allow me to change the way the internal part looks. So right now, there's nothing in the center of this tile, but I can change this to be a bulkhead, for example, or a ventilation element, or I can change it to be wires, for example. Let's have a look at that. And the system will automatically adjust itself accordingly so that it will fit. So that's the standard tile. We can also build other tiles such as wall tiles. Wall tiles will have more variety for different heights, such as I can change around the way that the corner pieces align. So now we actually have a wall with a bottom section here, and I can change these bottom sections as I need to. Like so. Next up, the tiles contain UVs, so I can show you the UVs like this, and this will automatically UV the entire mesh, allowing substance materials inside Unity to be placed on top of this tile. They also support instance points, which means that we can instance objects on top of these tiles. And as I said, there are a variety of different tiles that we can make, such as I can make a staircase, I can shrink the staircase, I can change the fill of the staircase to something else, etc. Or, for example, remove its corners. This will allow me to make a large variety of different tiles. To continue looking at our level generator, this next step, here you can see I've adjusted the level. It's a lot larger now, which allows me to show you more of the next step, which is detailing. Now in this step, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this tiling system that we've placed and we're going to actually instance it. So we're going to go over here, we're going to turn on instancing. We're going to let it calculate. And once this finishes, we'll be able to see our level with full detailing, which includes the catwalks, the walls, the floors, and the ceilings. So now it's finished. And let's zoom out. Let's turn off the wireframe. And I'm quickly going to turn off my guides as well. There we go. This is our level. It is fully tiled, fully detailed, so have a look. These are all separate meshes. If we wish to select them, we can. So if I turn this off, you'll see these are fully unique meshes that I can drag around and manipulate if I want to. Let's turn on some lights so we can get a better idea of our level. And let me quickly hide a couple of geometry layers that are currently visible. And let's play. So here we are. We are currently walking around in a level that was detailed in seconds. These adjustments were made in roughly 20 minutes. That includes tweaking time. So we can just walk around and see how the catwalks will adjust themselves, and they are able to scale. We can have lights in our scene just fine, all works, and we can shoot. Right, so that concludes our little walkthrough and demonstration.